In life, everyone has to choose their regrets.
Coming up on the Melanin Money Show.
The way to make $100,000 a month is not by learning how to make $100,000 a month. It's learning how to make your first $100.
More people are drowning than they are surfing.
Sometimes people they try to skip the process, right? It's like, you still got to learn this first. And if you focus on that, it won't feel so overwhelming. And you can drown out the noise.
If you hire them and they literally tank your business to the ground because of their lack of productivity, and then you have to fire them, then you might not ever talk to them again.
When you think about what really either levels you up in life or holds you back, is really rooted into what you say yes to. Yo. Welcome back to another episode of the Melanin Money Show. Carter, how you feeling, big dog?
I'm feeling great. My head, though, I'm picking it up off the floor because you sent me a video yesterday via YouTube to watch, and I watched it today, and I can't stop thinking about it. At 30, it's crazy how much free information is on the internet, right? Which is a gift and a curse because it's information overload to people who don't know what their focus is or what they want to do. But it is a gift for people who are laser focused on what they want and what they're trying to learn about, right? So the video you sent me, bro, by Alex Hormozi. If you all don't know who Alex Hormozi is, look him up. He's one of the GOATs of our era. He really might end up, if he keeps this pace up, he will be the GOAT of our era when it comes to business. It probably won't even be that close. But yeah, his video is just so remarkable about sales marketing, building a sales team. And that 30-minute video, I just paid $25,000 for a mastermind, which it's phenomenal and that's great.
$25,000 for a mastermind per
quarter. So it's $100,000 for the year. So yeah. So but first I paid for one quarter. In that 30-minute video, I've learned the equivalent of what I learned in the mastermind for 13 after taking 13 hours worth of classes. Not to say nothing's wrong with the mastermind. The mastermind is amazing, but Alex Hormozi is just so phenomenal at condensing information to a short amount of time. And, bro, so thank you for that. And if your friends are not sending you videos to help you level up, find new friends. Don't send me nothing about what's happening in rap culture. That's cool. I get it. But send me something every now and then that's going to help me level up, man. Jesus Christ.
Right. Now don't get it twisted. We can send the funny memes
absolutely
with the best of them. Right. But it's at the same token, you still got to know what your friends' goals are, what matters to them. You would find value in this, because the video I sent him, while I did find an immeasurable amount of value in it, I knew he would find more value in it relative to the role that he provides for our partnership for our company, right? So I was like, Carter will love this. So I sent it to him. So definitely have people in your life who know who you're trying to become and what matters to you, and so they can continue to pour into you. But yeah, so in doing so, that prompted this thought process of man, when you think about what really either levels you up in life or holds you back, is really rooted into what you say yes to. Because think about it. You can say a no is a no, right? Because the outcome of a no is whatever it is they ask or they wanted from you is not happening. So a no is a no is a no. Can I have $10? No. You want to fly to Dubai with me? No. You want to cook me this meal? No. Same outcome, right? But if you say the wrong yes, or say yes to the wrong person, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a business partner, whether it's a client, it could be dramatically terrible for you. Right. Mm-hmm. So we thought that it'd be pretty insightful to go through different scenarios of when it is important to scrutinize your yes.
Facts. And saying no is actually saying yes. Saying no to someone else could be saying yes to yourself. Which for me, once I learned that, I was bet, because I had a problem saying no. And then I read the book, The Art of Saying No. And then the one gem I got from the book is saying no to someone else is also saying yes to yourself. So now you don't have to feel bad when you say no, because you're really saying, I'm not saying no to you. I'm saying yes to me. That changes everything. And it really gives us to the heart of today's episode, because the only reason I read the book, The Art of Saying No, is because I needed to learn how to say no. You know what I'm saying? So in this world of and we can actually hit this in a few different scopes of life, but we can start here. In the world of unlimited information, more people are drowning than they are surfing, let's say, if you will, because like if you're surfing on top of the waves, you're enjoying all the information out there, but more people are drowning than it is people are surfing. So how do you go from information overload to riding the wave to your financial future or your business goals or your dreams and your, things like that? So I think overwhelm comes from a lack of clarity, and the more clearly defined you are about what you're looking for, the easier it is to get a result.
Big facts, right? And so when you think about it, it's like, I get it, right? Like, it's not like we're saying that some information is bad and some information is good. The problem is it's all good, right? So, or not all of it, but a lot of it.
But too much of anything
is even water. Right?
Bad thing. Yeah.
Even water. Too much of anything is a bad thing. So what you have to do is, my mentor told me this a long time ago, and it's so true. He said, you can have everything you want, just not at the same time. That's one thing you said to me. I've heard you say probably like 5 times in the last 2 weeks. And it's like, I wake up with that in my head now. Like it's one of the mantras. Like I need that in my life at this point. You can have everything you want in life, just not right now. And the reason why I say it so much is I have to remind myself, because again, the gift and the curse of being a visionary is like, the enemy of vision is sight, right? It's like when you can see so clearly, like I literally can see a decade ahead, right? Then it's almost like a level of anxiety of like, because if you feel like it's right here and you want to do it, you want to do this, and you want to do what's on this road and this road and this step and this step. But the reality is like, you got to slow yourself down and ask yourself, what is going to move the needle the most today, right? Like for what matters the most right now. And balancing that with the clarity that you do have for where it is that you want to go. So for me, I'm like what Carter said is 1,000% true. Overwhelm typically does come from lack of clarity. For me, though, as a visionary, overwhelm can come from because I got too much clarity. Too
much of anything is a bad thing.
Right? So that's what I experience sometimes. But when I realize, like, okay, I'm gonna get that too, but just not today. Right. And I think that's why we have such a great balance in our business partnership, because Carter is never like, don't do this. That's crazy. Like, why would you think that makes sense? It's like, okay. That's whatever you do with that. That's what I know you about to like not disagree, but like try to redirect. Like, okay. I'm not saying it's not a bad thing, but is that what we really want to do
right now?
Right. And so, but it forces us to like evaluate, like, okay, cool, you're right. Like, it's not wrong. It's the wrong yes today. Right. Mm-hmm. And so like what helps me out is just really, okay, asking myself, what would make me feel light as a feather, make me feel accomplished, and make me feel like I really moved the needle in my life and in my business if I got that thing done. Right. And I try to say yes to that thing, because if I say yes to that thing, it's going to create a domino effect, right, and giving me more capacity, giving me more mental clarity, because sometimes it's not that you have so much on your plate, is that you have stuff running in the background in your mind that's clouding your ability to lean into what you want to lean into. So it's going to be unique to you. Mm-hmm. You got to ask yourself, like, what is that thing I need to learn that really is going to take me to the next level? What's that thing? What is that uncomfortable conversation that I got to have that's really going to free me up and make me feel liberated? Because it's going to be different for everybody. But you got to ask yourself, what is that thing for you? But when it comes to learning, it's like, where are you in your journey? So, for example, if you're already making a lot of money, maybe you don't need to watch another video on like making another extra $1 million. Maybe you need to watch a video on like, okay, I feel so overwhelmed because I don't have the right team. I don't have the right systems. I don't have the right operational infrastructure. Maybe you need to learn something that's going to help create the business that's more sustainable, right? So you got to look at where you're at right now and focus your education on things that really will free you up the most relative to the pain that you're experiencing in the moment.
Can I give an example of just my personal journey? Because I think one thing I want us to do, is get more personal on these shows, because people, they know Melanin Money, but they also want to get to know us individually. So right. Like, I just thought of this. So my sales journey, right, of like, as an entrepreneur, it started off like, I need to learn how to sell to people because I'm the only person that can make the business money. So I bought a book called Selling the Invisible. And if you haven't read that, it's a great book. It's like, if you're any services, Selling the Invisible teaches you how to sell something that people can't tangibly see or touch. So I read Selling the Invisible. I'm like, bet now I know how to sell one-to-one. If I get somebody in front of me, get somebody on the call, I know how to sell one-to-one. I got that skill set. Then it's like, okay, bet I now need to learn how to sell one-to-many because I'm doing either live workshops or I'm doing virtual workshops where I can't afford to be with one person at a time. I have to sell to 100 people at a time. So then I decided to purchase a mastermind that was all about how to sell to a group, right? Then this year, it's like, well, guess what? I'm the only person that knows how to sell. If I don't sell anything, we make no money. So now it's like, oh, I need to learn how to build a sales side of an organization. So I'm not the only person that makes money. And then I joined a mastermind on how to build a sales team. So like when the student is ready, the teacher shall appear. And I think that's very important because I didn't start out saying I need to learn how to build a sales organization. Like you ain't make no money yet. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I went from, I'm not making no money. I don't know how to sell. I need to learn how to sell one-on-one. I need to know how to sell one-to-many. I now need to how to train other people to sell one-on-one. And then the next step is I probably need to train somebody else to sell one-to-many. You know what I'm saying? And I only sought out exactly what I needed at that point in time.
Right. 100%. Right. Because like the way to make $100,000 a month, right, is not by learning how to make $100,000 a month. It's learning how to make your first $100. Right. Yeah. Oh, I figured that out. Now I can make 1,000. Oh, I figured that out. Now I can make 10,000. Now I figured that out. Now you see what I'm saying? Like you end up creating more unnecessary overwhelm by trying to solve a problem that isn't even relevant to you. Like the story I always like to tell in this example is I remember working out in the gym one day and this dude was like, yo, bro, can I work out with you, man? You like shape, boom, boom. I was like, sure, bro, whatever, that's cool. And there was this other bodybuilder dude, like he had to be like stage ready. You know what I'm saying? He was he's like, actually, I want to take him. I said, that's cool, bro. I was like, but the road to him is through me, my brother. So like, however you want to get there, it's up to you. But yeah, sometimes people like, they try to skip the process, right? It's like, you still got to learn this first. And if you focus on that, it won't feel so overwhelming. You can drown out the noise because it won't be relevant to you in that season. It's not that it's not relevant, period. It's just not relevant to you in that moment. So like me trying to join a mastermind on how to be a better CEO is not relevant when I am all things to everybody. And I have a team of me plus an admin, right? Like that's not relevant. I still got 7 other hats I got to wear. But yeah, so you just got to like address what is the biggest pain point right now? What could provide me the most pleasure right now? And what could avoid the biggest pain?
Absolutely.
Right? And let that narrow your guardrails on your decision making so you don't get lost in a sea of information.
Facts. Now, how can this apply to other areas of people's life outside of like just learning in the education space and like personal development? Like, I think what were we talking about before? We talked about like, you said relationships.
We talking about like hiring.
Right? Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, bro. Yeah, that within itself, we can go there because again, this is what we're in the middle of right now, right? Like, you know, just full transparency, right?
Right. So hiring, right? So it's like, again, you can say, if I say no to somebody that's not a good fit for the company, it's a no. We go back to not having that role filled, right? A no is a no is a no. If I say yes to the wrong person for the role, that becomes a whole host of nightmares and circumstances. Here's why. Whenever you hire someone, you are assuming that there's a series of things that you get to delegate, right? Things that you no longer have to worry about, things that are now been solved for. And then when you're the aggressively ambitious entrepreneur that we are, guess what you're going to do? You're going to find something different and better to fill that time that you used to have to worry about, right? Then what happens? Something comes knocking at your door. Customer comes knocking at your door. Another team member comes knocking at your door. Hey, that person you hired, they're not doing that thing you said they would do, but it still has to be done. Oh, shoot. So now, not only do I have this new thing to add to my plate, now I have to re-immerse myself into figuring out how this person's job is going to get band-aided and figured out because they can't do it. They can't be trusted to do it on their own, right? That's what happens when you say yes to the wrong team member. Not to mention, if they're client facing, right? Then now your name, your brand as the leader, the CEO, the company owner, right? They don't care about what your employee failed to do. They originally signed up 9 times out of 10 because of you. Mm-hmm. So now your name potentially is going to get dragged through the mud because you said yes to the wrong person who could not do what you needed them to do.
Hey, aren't you tired of buying courses in those emotional states when you want to get a result, but then you actually don't do anything with the course? Do you know on average, the completion rate for a course is about 2%? But here's the thing, it's not entirely your fault. The problem is you buy the course, but you don't have access to the source who actually created it.
See, that's why we're doing something different. With the Melanin Millionaire Club, you're not just gonna get access to courses, you'll get access to the people who created it so you can get your questions answered. Because it's not just about learning, it's about taking that information so you can start earning. So the Melanin Millionaire Club is gonna give you access to courses, but not just that, it's an entire university of information. We have financial flicks, we have hundreds of previous recordings, but more than that, y'all, we have an amazing community of people just like you who are trying to become a first generation millionaire. So like GA said, like you can survive without community, but you can't thrive without community. So this is the place you need to be, right?
100%, because here's the thing. If it was just about information, we'd all be billionaires with 6-packs. So that's why every single Monday, we're going to set the tone for your week with Melanin Millionaire Mondays, where our entire community is going to meet up. The energy is going to be high. We're going to set the intention for what we're going to execute on so we can move the needle forward, and Carter and I and the rest of our team can keep you accountable.
So that's enough information. You see the rest in the club. All you got to do, click the link below, sign up, and start your journey to your first millionaire year. Let's get it.
Let's go.
And it can completely disrupt your company culture. It can completely disrupt your company cash flow if you really let it go untouched, right? And it can just really mess up a lot of things. So like you have to be careful about who you say yes to. So let's get into some of the things of like that you can like be proactive about so that you can say yes to the right person.
Yeah, and I think that one is not like one thing that we're learning is don't hire somebody to like don't hire to fill a role. Don't hire for the role, hire the right person for the role. What do we say?
Don't. Yeah, I'm just talking about like I'm not gonna say it much better than you, but basically it's like don't hire for the person, hire for the role. Like for example, the company has a specific role that it needs, right? Mm-hmm. Hire for that. Like just because you have somebody in proximity or someone that can do some stuff, like don't hire them and then try to tailor what they can do, right, to the role. Like no, the role is the role. Can you fulfill that role? There's no knock if you can, but this is what the role needs.
Yeah, and I think that what I started doing as an entrepreneur, right? Like I would find the role that needs to be filled. Who's the closest? Do I got a family member, a cousin?
Who wants to do this?
Who wants to do? This is what the business needs to do. And then you sometimes mess up and go inside the company. Hey, who wants to do this thing? Like you know what I'm saying? And you start taking people away from what they want to do. So the biggest lesson I'm learning this year, as you know, a business owner, is don't hire like hiring an expert. I mean, hiring an amateur will cost. Hiring an expert will cost a lot of money, but hiring an amateur will cost you a fortune of lost money, right? So like instead of trying to save money and fill a role, pay extra to have that person make you more money. And that's just, I think, a starting entrepreneur mistake. We try to like get somebody in the role and like, we say yes, then we got to say no, kick them out. Now you got to have a tough conversation that you shouldn't have had in the first place because you shouldn't even hire them, right?
Right. Versus having a tough conversation on the front end, right, to truly vet out if they were the person, right? Like sharpen twice, cut once. Unarticulated expectations lead to premeditated resentments. Hey, Mr. or Mrs. New employee, in order to be successful in this role, this is what it looks like. Can you give me an example of when you've demonstrated that? Not that you could potentially do it, not that you have an aspiration to do it, not that you could if you maybe had all the resources. Can you demonstrate an example of when you were world-class at doing that? No? Great. Then if I hire you, it's my fault. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, well, he gonna fool me twice. Like, but those are tough. Imagine how tough that conversation would be. Like someone's all excited about a role. Oh, great, glad that you're interested. This is what the role needs, and all we need to move to the next step is just show me examples of when you did that well. I don't have any right now, but I promise you, if you give me the job, go get it. Go be somebody else's sucker, right?
Yeah,
and then,
go be somebody else's promise.
All right, like, listen, we're not a Fortune 500 company yet, okay? Emphasis on the yet. So we can't, everybody has to be an A player. You see what I'm saying? Like, we can't afford for people to be like, you know how people would like make the memes during the pandemic and everybody was like, what was like the whole thing about like people like not working for real, like not working hard, and they're like chilling.
Yeah, like 7:59, they smoking in the room listening to Bob Marley or whatever. And at 8 o'clock on the dot. Hey guys, this is
like that's funny. It's funny, but we can't afford that. We need A players, right? We don't need people to burn themselves out or nothing like that, but we do need people that have the capacity, because they're A players, they can juggle a little bit more than the average person. Now, when we grow to a 9 figures, we're gonna be able to have more like tacticians, right? People that they can just like.
But we shouldn't need to, though. We should kind of keep this A player thing going, because the thing about, and guys, y'all are learning literally lessons that we're learning on the spot, right? This is I want to give y'all context because it's super dope, because we just learned this. So don't think that this is like, I know this. Yeah, it's like, yo, I want to be fully transparent. We are just learning this, right? The thing about A players is that, and shout out to Alex Mosey, he said this as well. Like, if you have 4 A players and 1 C player, that C player is going to drag the A players down, not because of like proximity or like, what do you call it? Influence, but just because it's stopping them from doing their job at a high level, because they got to stop and pick up the slack of that other person, right? Like, so you have to understand that if you do that, it's not just detriment to you, it's detriment to the people that you already hired. Now, back to your point about making tough decisions, because we can't sit here and say making tough decisions is easy, right? No. They're called tough decisions from tough decisions. What's that book you said everybody needs to read, brother?
The hard thing about hard, and actually that book is about that. The hard thing about hard things.
Pause, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. So the backstory on that, y'all, is we were in New York for our podcast tour, and somebody in the audience asked us about what our favorite books are right now, and that's the book that came to mind. But I forgot I was in the middle of Brooklyn.
Yeah,
and it was like, yo, people was literally looking at me crazy. It was like, yo, you know where you at right now, man? Like, you ain't paused that? I was like, bro, look, leave me alone.
Yeah. So I don't want y'all to think that hard decisions are easy, but shout out to Tim Ferriss that said your level of success is determined by how many hard decisions you're willing to make, right? And another point I want to make on that is this, and I just learned this from a podcast I watched recently, and this changed my frame on hard decisions. He said, in life, everyone has to choose their regrets. It's like, what does that mean?
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to choose your regrets. Like, what does that mean though? He said, instead of looking at a decision of what's the best case scenario, if I do this, or what's the best case scenario for that, switch it up and ask, what is the worst case scenario? Like, what is the worst case scenario that can happen if I make this decision? And what is the worst case scenario that can happen if I make this other decision? Because what we have to understand is some regrets are not worth living with, right? So when it comes to hiring, let's say you have a family member that you want to hire, but you're not sure they're good for the job, right? The choosing your regrets is like, okay, if I hire this person, or if I say no to this person, if I don't hire this person might get upset. They might not talk to me for a little while, but by the next family reunion, they'll probably get over it and we'll be cool again. It might take some time, right? It might be some awkward conversations.
Right.
That's one regret if you hire them. If you don't hire them, if you hire them and they literally tank your business to the ground because of their lack of productivity, and then you have to fire them, then you might not ever talk to them again, right? Like in life. So that regret is not worth living with. So it might be better for you just to not hire them in the first place. You know what that regret is going to be versus the money it will cost you and the potential full loss of relationship that you will have if you make that decision. So if we start looking at things from choosing our regrets versus choosing the best case scenario, I think it'll help us better with our decision making.
That's so good, because especially like entrepreneurs in general, like we're very optimistic. We're very like, ooh, this could happen. If this could happen, I can make this much. I can make this much, and we don't necessarily spend enough time counting the cost of, well, what if it doesn't happen that way, right? And the thing is not that those like things are bad. Like a lot of times, like stuff is just part of the recipe. Like I always say, Newton's third law of motion: for every action, there's opposite but equal reaction. So if you think you're going to be able to have the same level of time autonomy and peace of mind for the business that was 3 million at 30 million, or it's not going to stretch you in a different way, like I got to bridge this. Like it's going to require different you, right? So it's not that those things are bad, or we would call it good stress, if you will, but it's like you just have to go into it knowing what that looks like. So when you think about having to not hire that family member or friend, or having to fire that person if you already did hire them, if you think it's expensive, people don't like to fire people because like, oh, attrition is so expensive, and I gotta spend all this time to onboard and train and all that. If you think it's expensive trying to hire somebody new, imagine how expensive it will be to keep them. All right. Mm-hmm. Imagine how expensive it will be to keep the wrong person on your roster. Right. So like, and you don't have to be an asshole about it. Most people, not everybody, but most people are pretty reasonable. Hey, because here's the thing. The crazy part about it is they've probably been feeling it too. It's almost like they're waiting for you to say something, right? It's like, you know what I'm saying? That's the crazy part. It's like, we just wait, like, well, I wasn't going to say nothing until you said nothing, but they know it. They know it's happening, right?
How many times have you been out with somebody, bro? And like, or like, you know, y'all watching a movie or something, and like, you be like, I really don't want to watch this. You don't want to watch it either? Like you literally, we're both doing something that puts us uneasy, but we're both scared to talk about it. Now we're both suffering when one of us could have just had the cojones to say something.
Yeah. So it's like, most people are reasonable. Like, for example, let's say like the classic example. You started out your company, you hired for proximity, you started growing, right? What they were able to do and serve at that level made sense. They were just helping out with some admin stuff, checking some emails, you know, hopping in on this, hopping in on that. That's when you were a side hustle. Then you evolved into a small business, and now you're growing into an enterprise. And the reality is your rate of growth outpaced theirs. That's a very common thing. It's not uncommon, largely because you have the biggest commitment to the company because it's yours, right? There's some employees that are like bought in and gung-ho, and they're going to grow just like you. But that's not going to be the case across the board. It is extremely common that the company growth in size and scale outpaces its original support system. Okay. So in that conversation, it's like, hey, I remember the time. Remember when we first got started, we was just like figuring it out, and it was a good time. And I didn't know much, and you didn't know much. It's safe to say we're not there anymore, right? Yeah. Like things have evolved, and I'm so excited about it. But with that evolution, it requires just a different version of all of us. And I've been observant. We put some systems in place to try to give people the grace and space to evolve. But if I'm being totally honest with you, what you've shown me so far just makes me believe that I don't know if this is truly the environment for you today. Not to say that it wasn't, not to say that you're a bad person, but the reality of who the company, the identity of the company is today, you no longer fit within that. Would you agree with that? Right? Like, it's not personal. Like, and then maybe six times out of 10, they're going to agree with you. Like, you know what? I see why you said that. But in the event that they do give you pushback, guess what you can do? You can cite examples. Well, hey, I thought you might say that, and I didn't want you to think that this was just a favoritism or just I'm getting too big for my britches, I'm forgetting where I came from. So I want to remind you of a few key moments that were critical to the business that we tried to overcome, but you were at the heart of all of them. Here's situation 1. Here's situation 2. Here's situation 3. Here's situation 4. Now, can you see why we had to have this conversation? I'm happy to connect the dots. If there's somebody that in my friend group, my peer group, or entrepreneur group who you think that you can serve at the level that they're at this moment, but as it stands for this company where we're headed, I think that our time has come to a phenomenal conclusion. And I'm so grateful for everything you've been able to provide. Is that tough? Hell yes, it's tough to say. But is it real? Hell yeah. It's real.
That was just a blueprint on how to fucking fire somebody. And you involuntarily just signed up for, if we ever have to fire somebody in the future, That's your job, bro, because you are better at it than I am. That was world class, y'all.
Get your ass out the door. Don't let the doorknob hit you where the good Lord splits you.
I'm just saying, man, that was world class. That was a master class for how to let somebody go. And since you're so good at it, if we ever have to let somebody go, that's a master class of
world class finessing. Right? You know what? And I can't even be mad. Like I was like, even last night, like, so when Carter and I first met, right? Like I had a teamer on my team who now evolved into an A player. I didn't at the time. I knew she was good, but I didn't know she was that good, right? Mm-hmm. And so like she would do little stuff for me and Carter, and then like me and Carter trading ideas because we masterminded. And I was like teaching about like how I delegate stuff. And then when I tell you, if you give this man anything, he is gonna like he doesn't believe in turning something up. Like he turns it on fire, like starts boiling it immediately. And next thing I know, this thing is delegating everything to me. I'm like, wait, what are you doing? How did this happen? Why? Like literally just last night, he was like, "Yo, can you create the document?" And shit? I'm like, "No, I wanted to say so bad."
And first of all, you can just say no, bro. Like you're not delegating to me.
No, the only reason why I didn't say no because it wasn't that deep. Like I was just being funny, but like, yeah.
But you say you created it first. You say I already had the document.
I said I think at that point I don't know if I had created it though. I said I had I don't know. More story. Okay. At that point I hadn't created it. My point of saying this is this dude here, if you don't give him something unless you want him to run away with it, jump over the fence, hop on the jet, get on the yacht, go over to China, because that's exactly what he's gonna do.
But I
first started sending him voice notes, and then next thing you know, he's sending voice notes. I'm like, yo, this dude here.
Bro, you can admire, one thing you can admire about me is my level of consistency, bro. My level of execution and my level of consistency. And that won't waver, right? Like that is it's like too much of anything. Like you said, too much of anything.
Now, don't get it twisted. If you ask me to do something I want to do, I'm not doing it. Right.
Yeah,
but
right.
I just genuinely find it funny. I'm like, yo, like this.
Okay. You know what's funny? This is what I thought she was talking about. And this wasn't me trying to finesse you. This was something like I genuinely thought it would make sense for you to do and not me. But I also was happy I didn't have to do it. When I was like, have you made the edits to the video, have you given the team the edits to the trailer video? Because you had already started. I didn't want to step on your toes, but I'm like, if I don't have to do that, like
that was something I just didn't mind doing because
I know you usually have final say anyway. So like, but yeah, y'all.
But yes, we talked about like personal development, right? And like being careful of how much you consume, what you say yes to. We talked about hiring, and what you say yes to. We had a third one.
I think we can hit on this one quickly. Pause.
Team members. Oh yeah.
This one is just I don't want to stay too long. We can talk about personal life, like what not to say yes to, and how it could bite you.
That's the one. Was it personal life?
No, it was relationships. I feel
like that was the bonus one. It was personal development. It was hiring. I know. I had said like relationships. I was like that. Like I said, technically we could talk about relationships. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah. I mean, I think another area that we can hit is personal life. Really quickly, and I think that my example here is just saying yes to the wrong things personally could derail you faster than you think, right? Right. If somebody asks me to go out on a weeknight, I take that as personal disrespect because I will not go out and drink on a weeknight. And the reason for that is saying yes to that, I'm probably saying no to 6 hours of my day to the next day, right? Because I am probably not going to be able to function at the level I need to function at because I'm probably hungover or something. So I think that saying no, or saying yes to wrong personal events and occasions can end up hurting you more than you think. In one instance, it was one quote by Entrepreneur. He says, because I don't do what I want to do all the time, I'm able to do what I want to do all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because for y'all to understand what that means is like, me and George own our time. We can do whatever we want, whenever we want. Right. But because we don't go out drinking on a Tuesday night, because we don't do whatever we want, it gives us the freedom to be able to do whatever we want. So although we might turn down going out to the club on a Tuesday night, now we can go rent the yacht on a Tuesday morning and go sailing and we don't have to work that day because we said no to things that we didn't want to do, so that one day we could do everything that we actually want to do. So,
random, and we're not gonna talk about it right now, but we got to figure out what we're doing after the successful award show. Like, how are we celebrating?
Well, we're supposed to be going to Africa, bro. Like, we should just. Yeah. Like, we should book that. I mean, I know we got other things, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
But yeah, so I agree with that. Like saying yes to the wrong things personally, right? And again, even that could be hard, right? Because it's like you got your childhood friends, you got your family, you got everybody just pulling on you, like, yo, can you do this? Can you do that? And it's not personal, right? But it is personal. It's personal when it comes to like you becoming the person that you want to become. Because here's the thing: when you're the one, especially when you're the one for your family, it's like, you know how I'm able to do all that y'all, like I'm able to do for y'all. It's not like rubbing it in anybody's face. But the reason why I'm able to do all that is because I can't say yes to the same things that all y'all get to say yes to. And I'm okay with it. But I need y'all to understand that. It's not like I'm not missing this because I'm too good for y'all. I'm, big time George. It's like for me to be able to take care of the bill because so-and-so needed it, to make sure a cousin that went to college is good, to make sure that my auntie is straight. The reason why I can do that is because sometimes I got to say no to some of that, to the other smaller stuff, so I can say yes to when y'all need me, right? So it's like understanding that everybody is not going to always get it. But the thing that always trips me out is like, if you think I am who you claim to believe that I am, then you've got to know that I can't just be twiddling my thumbs at 2:00 in the afternoon. Like you've got like organically, like you don't got to know my full schedule, but you just got to organically know that can't be possible, right? Because that same energy of my cousin big time or so he really doing this, he doing that, and the same person you come and ask for money for, like he's got to be busy, he's got to be doing something productive in order to be able to do that, right? That's the part that trips me out. I'm like how are those dots not connected?
Like you want to be able to ask me for $2,000 at the drop of a hat, and instead of loaning it to you, I'm able to just give it to you, right? Because I don't believe in loaning family members money, right? But so you're okay with that, but you're not okay. I can't come to the Halloween party, like. Right. Like what? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that.
I'm gonna make the important stuff, right? I'm gonna make the family reunion. I'm gonna make auntie's 50th birthday. I'm gonna make that, but I'm not gonna be able to come to just a random Sunday cookout and watch the game every time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just not. But it's all love. But in order for me to be able to say yes to the right things, I have to say yes to myself most often, which might means in some scenarios is gonna be a no for you. That's real self-love, right? Like I saw this quote one time and it said, I'm probably gonna butcher it a little bit, but it said something like, boundaries is me loving you and myself at the same time. You know what I'm saying? In a sense that it's like, if I don't have boundaries, then I'm not loving myself and I'm giving you whatever you want.
Right? Which I'm then gonna resent you.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. So it's like, I gotta figure out what is that happy medium of where I can love myself and love you at the same time. And that might mean that I can't do everything you want me to do in order to create the space that I need to create to love myself. So guys, all that being said, when you're going through life and you're thinking about what your North Star is of what the ideal life looks like, the person that you want to become, the business that you want to build, right? Like just be mindful of your yeses. Will this yes get you closer to that? Or would the yes get you further away? And if the answer is it's going to get you further away, then why would you say yes? Right?
Then you will be saying yes to stress.
And I can't drop this one because it's on a stand and it costs too much. But on that note, thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of the Melanin Money Show. If you, as you already know, like, share, subscribe. This is an episode you definitely want to share with some people. I mean, like people have been saying that they've been liking a lot of our recent episodes because we're really just inviting y'all into our reality, right? It's like we're not proclaiming to have everything figured out. Like we're learning trial by fire, as they say. So please keep coming along for this journey. Invite your friends and family along for this journey. Make sure you leave a comment, subscribe on YouTube, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Peace.
Peace.